Good evening, everyone. This is Linda from Inspired Art Journaling. Welcoming you to a little session here that I decided to do, this afternoon. And basically what I'm going to be doing is just playing with my backgrounds. We've got ATCs. I know a lot of you are a part of the ATC program that I run, as well as other people have ATC themes that they run as well. And I'm also members of all of those. So quite often, it's not unusual for me to have, say, 8 or 9 sets of ATC cards to prepare each month. So what I thought I might just show you today is just not showing you the whole process, because obviously there's no element of surprise if I show you the way to go for doing the ATCs for this month. But because I do such a lot of different themes, I tend to plan them out a little bit to a degree, just to help me with the process of getting them done. And so I try to work smarter, not harder, in trying to do this. And so quite often I'll use bits and pieces that I've played around with, that I've got in my stash, that kind of thing. But today I felt for this month's ATCs, not just mine, but all the other people that I participate with, I thought I would use my Lindy's as the backgrounds, basically, for that. So essentially what I'm going to be doing this afternoon is just doing the backgrounds. As you can see here, I'll just move this out the way. We don't need that there anymore. But as you can see on my desk here, I have a sheet that I've already done. Now usually I have sheets like this because I've done some Lindy's. In fact, I think this might be just, when I try get a new set or something like that and I'm trying them out, I'll mix them up into a little pan, and so then I'll just make a few backgrounds. So that's what this is, and this is just me trying out one of the new sets that I received in the last month or so. And I just put that away, and so I thought today I can use that for a background. I'll just put a bit of stenciling and whatever on top of it, and then I will call that done as far as the background goes, and then later I can do all of the nitty-gritties, the decorating and cutting it up, etc. So that's what the purpose of this video is about, just doing some backgrounds. And I'm trying to make it as easy as possible, so that because we are all very busy and don't have a lot of time to sit and do an in-depth process. And the idea behind the ATCs is for it to be a little bit of fun. So people who run these programs don't want it to be an onerous task, because oh, I've got a deadline, I've got to get this done by the end of the month or whatever. But I think if you put your mind to it, if you know I can do 4 sets this month, plan it out a little bit. You don't want to plan down to the nitty gritty, but plan it out a little bit. Like, I'm doing the backgrounds today. I'll come back another day, maybe tomorrow or whatever, and complete them. And then, so that's when they'll be tailored individually to suit the theme that I'm doing. But, so for today, I just thought, this is me. I like using Lindy's. It's good when I'm just sort of playing around and wanting to get lots of colour down onto a piece of card without too much thought and that kind of thing. It doesn't mean you can't do this with your paints. We've all done the dry brush method, where you put blocks of colour down like this. You could do this exactly the same thing. In fact, it's probably a lot simpler to do it with paints, you know, whatever we're doing here, because they dry quickly. You can dry them off with your dryer and that kind of thing, whereas Lindy's, you tend to have to let them sit somewhere and, you know, let them dry out. So from that point of view, it is a longer process. However, you know, I've decided I'm going to get in here and play around and get some things done. So anyway, so I've got out two sets. I've got the tea and crumpet sets here, the set, and I've got all of the Monet and the artist's palette or whatever they called it. But there's 3 different ones in there as well, different sets. So between those, I should have enough colours to get me into enough trouble. And this is just something I've had sitting in the studio here, so it's got lots of little pans around here, so I thought that's fabulous for getting lots and lots of different colours mixed up at the one time. So this one is pretty much done. All I'm going to do with that is just do a little bit of stenciling for now. You know, later on I'll probably do a little bit of stamping. Maybe I'll do that now and then we'll do the Lindy's part. But yeah, so, you know, I just picked out, it's kind of a blocky type thing there. So I've just come up with this stencil. I'll put that there so you can see. It's just something that I've had for a while. No particular brand or whatever. I can't even remember where I got it from, to be honest. So I've got that one, and I'll just do it over the whole thing. At this stage, I haven't cut it up. I usually try to use an A4. But you know, I will use A3. I've also got the 30 by 30, 12 by 12 inch today as well. But you know, this gets 9 on pretty quickly with just a little bit of offcuts. So I tend to cover the whole sheet, and so I usually get in and do all of this and have all of that done before I cut it up. So I just find it easier to do it that way. Okay, so what I was going to do was with this is, let me just see, I haven't really even thought about colours because there's all sorts of colours on there. So I'm thinking I need something quite different. I'm just having a look to see what I got. I can't even remember what that, it's too light to be done. I'm trying to think what new ones I've received. But I can't remember what it is, but it looks too light to be, just ignore me, I'm trying to think of colours and all sorts of things here. I have a feeling I might go with this one from the tea, what is it? Sorry, Tea and Crumpets. It's been a while since I've used this particular. Tea and Crumpets is just a teal. I mean, you could use any teal that you had. I'm thinking that I will do a little bit of sprinkle and spritz on this. Not too much, cause I just want a little bit of a pattern on here. And so these are brilliant little containers with the new shakers. So what I'm going to do is, and I'll do this kind of systematically, I'll put it there, and I'm not going to use that one because that sprays out too much water. So you can use, oh, that one doesn't even have any water in it. Let's put some water in it. I did buy a little Lindy's one, just a little tiny one, because the big one I've got here just sprays out too much water, and it's just not good. So get yourself a little mister. Anything will sort of do. You just want it small because we just want to activate. Now I'm going to push that down, and I'm just going to start activating that a bit, but I don't want to activate where the stencil isn't sitting at the moment. So I'm just going to put that down there like that, and I'm going to get a little bit of movement underneath. Okay, so I've just got a little bit of movement on there. Looking at that, last week I had the pleasure of doing a workshop with Seth Apter, and he'd be so proud to see those delicate little marks on it. Okay, again, it probably doesn't come up terribly well, but it's looking so gorgeous. You know, it's just put a little bit of a colour onto, bit of texture, all that kind of thing onto this. And you know, we're doing it this way too. This is a simple technique. It's not a new one. Gosh, everyone has done it at some stage of the game. And I'm, you know, like I just moved the stencil there a little bit. I'm not worried about that either. And then finally, just a little bit more. It's the first time. My goodness, I've used it all already. Can't believe that. I'm just going to put that there. The only problem is that these things are small, and it just doesn't allow for much to happen there. Okay, all right. So what I could do if I had a bit of paper, let's just put that to the side for a moment. And I'm just going to pat that down onto there. Nothing much is happening with that. Okay, so that's just a little bit of Lindy's on there. You probably can't even see much of that, but there's just a hint of colour on there for the next time. So I'll get myself, I should have explained this to you too in the beginning. Just clean this off first before I go any further. I just very roughly write out, I don't want to show you, I won't be showing you too closely because I don't want you to see what I've got written on here, but I've got all of the different, you know, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 3, 5. See, I could be, looks like I'll be doing 9 or 10 here by the look of this, but anyway, so I just put down a little bit of an idea of what I'm doing, and so I've just got this thought in the back of my head, and I mostly did this up so that I could show you this today. And so, you know, I do a little bit of planning, but I mean, I don't plan it out to the nth degree, and quite often it depends on what I've got in my stash too. But I just thought I'd show you that there is a bit of madness in what I'm doing here. So we'll put that aside. That probably wouldn't take too long to dry. I mean, I could dry that off now. What I will do later is I'll do some stamping or a little bit more stenciling on it later. So I'll do the other ones first, and then I'll can come back to that one. This one here, I probably will dry this off because it won't take much to dry off. And so now it just means that I've got something in the background there, just like it's a textured piece of paper already. Okay, so that's pretty dry there, so we can do something else. It doesn't mean I have to use that stencil. I could be I'm just going to have a look here and see what I'm doing here without trying to give away too much that's going on. Okay, so I'm kind of just going to play with what I've got here. So this is from the Spill the Tea Teal. So again, I'm back into the Tea and Crumpet set. Just going to put a little bit in there. This is such a strong colour. put that one in there, and I might go with this. This is Butter the Bread Blue. So I'm just trying to, I'm sticking with the same sort of colourings at the moment because I'll probably just do a bit of a swishy around. I'm going to, I won't do that. They've just got to remember the difference between these, the artist ones and the tea and crumpets is that the artist ones are a flat. Doesn't matter, you can still use them, but just keep that in mind. You're not going to get that nice sheen that you're getting with these. But you can get a sheen just by adding some of that fairy fluff. And you'll get a silver. So I'm going to grab my pipette, grab some water and just fill that up. So I've got two greens and a blue here. We'll just see, I've got this piece of paper here. So I'll give them a bit of a swish around. Okay, so that's the nice blue that I've got. Nice strength of colour in there. Now this one's going to be very bright in teal. Oh, it's quite a bluey colour. So, oh, beautiful. These three colours are going to go really nice together. Okay. All right. So I'm quite happy with all of that. What I will do is, quite often I will work in a plastic tray when I'm doing Lindy so that I can move it around a bit, which I should go and get. What do I do with my plastic tray? Actually, I've got this, I'll put my paper onto this. Just move this all back a bit. Get myself organised. Put that down and let's do this properly. Try and act a bit professional. So I'll just leave that up there. Hopefully you can still see it there. Bring my colours in there. My paper, and I'm just going to, I just like to put something underneath it because if I want to shift it over to my other table, it means that the paints won't, the colours won't go everywhere. All right, so I'm thinking I will do a similar sort of thing to what I just did, only this time I'm going to use a, excuse me, a floral. I don't know if I want to use, yeah, I'll use that one. Okay, so here's a floral that I'm going to use, and I'll do a, just trying to think how I can do this because I've already mixed these up. It's the problem when you change your mind mid-sentence. So let's just see how we go with this, and we'll just, not really done this particular technique before, but we'll see how we go. I'm not looking for a perfect stencil underneath. It's just I'm just hoping that I'm holding it tight enough that some of the stencil will be evident. If it doesn't, that's okay because I can go over it with paint or something after. So then what I will do is lift that up so you can sort of see there's not a lot of pattern there, and that's okay. I'm not too worried about that. So again, I'll just come over onto this. Oh, gosh, I used a lot of paint on that one. My pages are starting to blend in a bit. And it's just to put marks on paper. You know, I'm not looking for perfection. So if some of you might not like this, it'll just be too mushy for you, and that's okay. But it's like I say, it's just to get some marks down on the page. So the colours are kind of blended in there a little bit. That's all right. Did I leave the colours out that I used? Here we go. Let's see what we can do here. Just trying to put a little bit more green into it, so I've just sprayed over that. It's not looking too bad, but I've just got to be careful with this one because it sprays out too much. And you need the water to activate the Lindy's. And so then sometimes what I'll do is I'll just pounce onto it. Okay, just to get that paint moving. Probably should put a little bit more up here. And I don't mind that the fact that there is white in there, okay? And so also what I can do is just to the side here, I'll just put that on there because I don't have any paper. So I mean, you look at that. Now look at that pattern that I've got on there. You know, that's wasted now because I didn't put it onto a... What I can do is, let's see what happens when I do this. Might not be evident to you on screen, but there you can see some shape there. Okay, and I'm going to let that dry off a little bit, but what I often do too is just bring my water over here. Okay, I'm going to dip my fingers into the water, it is clean water, and I'm just going to go plonk, 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 and then I tend to go through a bit of paper on these things. So that paper is going to lift up some of that color. Because I put the water on, it's going to lift up some of that. So, you know, I start to get that little speckly sort of look. Okay, so I'm kind of happy with that, because all I've got there now is a nice peaceful background. It's got blues and greens on it, and that's what I want. And if you look really close to it, you can see the outline of the shapes of the flowers. Very, very light, and enough to intrigue you to think, oh, what's that pattern in behind there? Oh, look, there's little flowers in there. So that, you know, that is definitely a winner, that one. I really do like that. Might not look so good when you're doing it. And because I've got the bits on the edge there, I probably will, can't help myself, but I'm just going to put that up there because this is probably going to be the top. So I just want to make sure that that's got a little bit of paint so it doesn't look like I've missed it. Okay, yeah, all right, so I'll just put that in the water. And because I know when I cut this up that I'm going to have about, I don't know, about half an inch or a centimetre down the side there, and there'll be a few centimetres down the bottom here. So, I mean, you could do it the other way around. You know, you just got to be mindful of when you're doing it. Now, I'm being a bit pedantic about that. So, you know, like, yeah, let's just say that one is done for the moment. So that background's done. So I'll just let that dry off for a bit. It's probably not going to dry off very quickly. I will have to use the heat tool because it's raining here now. So it means that it's going to take a lot longer to dry. So I'll just put that down on the floor there because it's kind of dry. All right, so then there are other ones. I'm just going to get my other colour. When I do sprinkle and spritz, I often go back to, now, I mean, they still have stocks of these, but I don't think they make them as much anymore. This was the original way that Lindy's come out, as far as I'm aware, and so they're not bringing them out like that anymore. I'm sure, but I'm not positive. But these ones have, I like these ones because they have lots and lots of different colours, and they're perfect for sprinkle and spritz. Just trying to think. I want another green, and I mean, you can mix all of these up. So I've got two. I've got a teal and a green here. Oh, hang on, I want this one. Okay, this is you can still get these, as far as I know. You can still get them. Oops. Oh, that is. But anyway, so I'm going to sprinkle. Should have shaken it because it's been a while since I've used these. But when I'm doing sprinkle and spritz, this is probably my go-to, because inside that colour, there's probably about 4 different colours, and they're not necessarily greens. Like in this blue, there'll be pink, and there'll be all sorts of things. So we'll just see how we go. And of course, I always err on doing too much. So you've just got a lot more scope with what to do. I'm just looking for a leaf one, although that's my favourite leaf, but I think I want the older one that Nat has. Let me just, excuse me for flicking through here. I've got a couple different ones here, so I know what I'm looking for, but of course it won't be here. So, all right, I'll use this one. This one, this is my favourite, but it's a little bit more open, and I wanted something a little bit more closed up. But that is okay. So I'm going to lay that down, and I'm just going to sprinkle some water on that. Now I'm just going to do that one side, and I'm going to get my fan brush, just start tapping in there, because you've got to activate the powder, but you don't want to influence it too much. So you can see that's why I've gone for this little fan brush, because I just want it to activate a little bit. See, I don't know if you can see that, but there's a red colour, magenta colour in there. So I'm just going to lift that up a little bit, and my gosh, have a look at that. That does look like it's watercolour. Whoops. Now I'm just going to turn this upside down. It doesn't matter if it's upside down, because I'm going to do it a couple of times. So I'm just tapping where just to help to activate some of this powder. Because if you don't activate, it'll just sit there. See, like there's some here that needs activating. Okay, yep, you end up with a little bit of a squishy, squashy mess, and that's really, well, it's kind of what I want. I want you to, I hope you can hear me over the rain here, it's quite heavy. And a little bit of blue. these colours are just so intense. I don't know. I have some knowledge of Lindy's, but I don't know if, they've changed the formulas over the years, and that kind of thing. But these are really striking. So if you can get your hands on some of these, but they're in the older shakers. Yeah. So again, I shall just put that there. Put that sort of. Okay. I don't want to overwork it too much, but I don't want to see too much of the powder. And at the moment I can in spots see too much powder, because it kind of detracts away from the nicer. And the fact that I'm using my fan brush here, that's creating a little bit of pattern as well, because as they're getting wet they're spreading out, and I like that too. So I'm just pushing paint colour around, and I will hold that up a little bit because I'm deliberately actually fanning now, because I'm putting that pattern down. It's not that I'm shifting too much colour now, I'm actually encouraging this pattern. So you can't really sort of see too much, but I'll bring that up a little bit so you can sort of see. I mean, that's just a gorgeous background, I think, anyway. Beautiful. Okay, so I'm just going to put that down on the ground. And of course when they dry they're much different too. So, so you don't always know what you're going to end up with. Okay, so I'm just looking at my list. Okay, now I'm going to be doing two very similar again. I'm doing it this way because it works better, but when I'm doing my actual ATCs, they'll be that way. What have I got here? Oh, I'm frightened to use too much red, because red will just look like someone's whatever. I might go with this one. This is Lederhausen Laurel. Now, Lederhausen Laurel is still available, and I think it is still available in this kind of thing, these shakers, and but you can go onto their website and have a look and just sort of see. This is a lighter green to the one that I did before, but I'm going to use both of them. So this one's Cathedral Pine. Oh, don't want that side. This is Cathedral Pines. Oh dear. And you can see I'm getting myself in a mess. You would not believe that I just got my nails done an hour ago. Anyway, that's just don't tell my nail lady. Again, look, I'm just going to go with the same thing, because I'm not telling you what theme I'm doing here, but in my head I know what I'm doing here. And so again, look, you might think, oh, she's doing the same thing all the time. Well, yes, I probably am, but you don't forget, it's the little bits that you add onto it, the stamping and the little other bits of ephemera that you add onto them that makes them different. So whilst the backgrounds might be very similar, the actual cards will be different, because I have to do 2 sets of everything, so which is kind of why I'm doing 2 the same. That's just the way it pans out. So you know, I'm doing a lot more, and that's why I'm doing double, because I have to do 2 sets of each of the ones that I do, that, you know, on my groups, but then I just do one for everyone else. Again, yep. If you receive one of these, you'll recognize that I've done this, and I'm deliberately doing it with this brush this time on this one, because this one is representing grass, and so it just so happened that, you know, with the things that I'm doing kind of lend themselves to what I'm doing here. So, you know, whilst I'm doing a couple of things the same, it does lend itself to it. So that's why it might look like I'm doing the same thing. I guess what I'm trying, my main objective today with this is just to let you see that they don't have to be complicated. Well, I don't think this is complicated. Messy, yes, very messy, but it's not complicated. So if you don't mind getting your hands dirty, I'll wash my hair tomorrow. They'll be alright. Just don't tell my nail lady. Gosh, there's some rain out there. Alright. So, I'm just going to put this in here. I'm not going to do it straight away just yet. In fact, what have I got there? Losing track of where I'm up to at the moment. So you've got both things here that you can just tap in, or you can scoop it in if you wish. Patch. Okay, so just off the side there, I've mixed up some Past the Jam Jane. Okay, so it's a pinky colour. I often put do a sample and put it on top of so I can sort of see what's happening. Now, I do want a little bit of dryness on there. I might just have a go at drying it off a little bit. It's not going to dry off too. Normally I don't. I let it dry itself, but I just want to show you something else. And I think I'm kidding myself a bit. Excuse me. Just a bit of my coffee. Okay, so that's kind of dryish off. So what I'll do is I'll just tap. I just want to get the pools of water off here. But it's still pretty cool. What I've got there, a couple. Okay, still a couple of bits there. What I'm going to do now is get a small round brush. Smallish round brush. Then dip it into this pinky colour, and keeping in mind, I might just turn this around because I'll feel better if I do it this way. It's not dry, but it's at least not got any pools. So what I'm trying to do here is I just want to put some little dashes . colour onto all of this, and I'm going to do this all over. I may do some later on. I'm just sort of showing you what I'm doing here. I don't want to make them too big. Some of these are getting a bit too big because it just depends on how wet underneath is. Because you want it to spread a little bit, but not too much. So some of that is spread too much, and that's okay. A lot of it will be covered up. So I hope you can still hear me because I'm under a tin roof here, so I'm hoping it's not too noisy. So what I can do too is, if I don't want it to spread too much, and I'm aiming for clumps. Okay, I'm trying to make little clumps. So if it gets too big, just tab it off. I should have done that before up there. Thing is, if you dab it off too early, the colour hasn't set in. So you just got to try and time it at the right spot of time. Give it a little bit of time to sink in, but once it starts spreading too much, then okay, just looking at the camera just to see the computer, just to see where they all are. And look, you know, I know it's like anything you do, it looks like a hot mess until you finally pull it all together. So I'm not going to go too far down. That's my way of knowing which end is up. Okay. Just let that set for a minute and then I'll dab off. When I dab off, I'm being very, very light. All right, okay, so that's another one. I'm going to just let that one go for a bit. Okay. All right, so let's see another one. Okay, I've been going for 40 minutes so far. Okay. All right. So this one I'm going to be doing sort of bluey colours. And I might even get some of these. I'm going to water them down a bit because I don't want it too bright, because it's going to be like a sky thing. But if it is too bright, what I will do is I'll tone it down with some stenciling at the over this. Here we go. Let me put that one back. Put that back in there. Okay, this is Monet. What is this one? Head in the Clouds. Let's see. So this one is going to be. I've got a 12 by 12 here, so I'm spreading it right across. That means I'll have some left over for something else. Now that one was just a flat, and what I will do, this is, no, I don't want that, I want this, sorry, I want the, what's it called, fluff, fairy fluff. Fairy fluff is just adds a little bit of sheen to it. It's just a silvery, there's no sort of colour to it. But what I'm doing, when it's dry, it's going to add just a bit of sheen to it. So it will enhance that colour that's there, but by putting a sheen on it, and but it's not actually a colour per se. Let's just say it's got a silvery sheen to it. Alright, so we might just spray it and just see what we end up with, because I'm feeling like it's going to be quite bright. Okay, again we can get, I've got a bigger fan brush just here. I've got this one, oh, get out of there. Let's see how this one goes. A bit of water on it. Because at the moment it's all spotty, isn't it? So I'm just going to create a little bit of a pattern here. And again, I'm just trying to break up that powder. Now I could stencil over this with white when it's dry, you know, like to push that blue back, because it is, I mean, I'm kind of trying to make a sky here, but you know, it's obviously too bright at the moment. Alright, so you know, you can lift it up and let it sort of slide a little bit. I try not to do that too much. Alright. When it starts to get to the edges, I just pounce it. The paper towel is making some marks on here as well now, because I'm pouncing it over. It's kind of like a periwinkle blue at the moment. Okay, now I'm not going to play with that too much. I will put some kind of, see, I like there that I really tapped off on that. Got to be careful because the green, some green won't be too bad on here, because there will be some green on it, but that's all right. I'm quite happy with that. That's going to go lighter again. It does, you know, they do dull down when they dry, so it will. Trust the process is what we say, isn't it? So we'll put that down a little bit and let that one dry off a bit. Just trying to think. Oh, that's that one. All right, I think for this one, I'll just do one more, because you know you don't want to be looking at this all the time. So what I might do with this one is actually get just trying to think. I'll get a couple of sprays, I think, for this one, rather than use the so I've got some sprays here, so I hope you can sort of see that in the corner. Now I'm particularly looking for a top hat here, but I picked up the wrong one. Yes, I have, of course. What I want is not there. Wrong one. So guys, let's have a look. It's always got to be the last one. Right, what have we got here? Yes, that's a good colour. I'm looking for particular ones. I have that one. And what other one can I use? Yes. This is another periwinkle. Well, it's called Penguin Play Periwinkle. So it'll be very similar to that one that I just did. Quite a purpley sort of colour. So then I've also got here, this is from a, they're all Antarctica type. This one's Iceberg Azure. So they're all that I forget what it's called, what set they come from. Can't believe my nails. Oh, shocking. So let me just have a look at what stencil I've got here that turns me on. Use any stencils, because I mean honestly you're not going to get the design out properly, and I'm just using these stencils here because they're close. Oh, let's use some stars. Alright, so let's get in here. Let's see what happens. Not a lot's happening there. We'll try a bit more spray. See if that helps. And some of these bits. Again, the stencil's not coming out perfectly, but all it really is what the purpose behind it is, just to get a little bit of texture onto the page. Now I know what's going to happen to this at the end, so you know, I know that this is okay. What I'm doing here is okay. We'll just have to wait and see if you get one of my ATCs. If you're in my group, what it's going to be. So I'm happy with that. Again, not much there, but of course, you know, this is only the first layer, and I think I will dry that off a little bit. Occasionally you can see a little star, but the whole idea is that you can't, which is good. And what I like about this process is I really am working off the cuff. I'm looking at my list. My list doesn't tell me much. It tells me what the name of the group is and the possible stamp or the focal image that I'm going to be using. But apart from that, there's nothing else written down. So I haven't determined which particular stencils I'm going to use or anything like that, or what embellishments, what, you know, extra am I going to put, rhinestones on it, you know, that kind of thing. Don't know yet. That's still in the lap of the gods. So this one is quite shiny. I don't know if you can see that on there, but it is quite shiny. So that's pretty cool. And I love the white space that comes through. So some of the ATCs will have white space, some of them won't. There will actually be a lot of white space on here because I do intend to do a bit of embossing on this particular one. And so there will be more white space later on. So that colour, I don't know if you can see, there's a bit of green and that kind of thing on it. I think that's just sort of come from all of this. So, you know, there's a bit of cross-contamination there, which is fine. Okay, so some of these are starting to, they're still wet. They'll need drying before I'll do it. But this one's pretty dry. Now, he has faded quite a bit since that's the first one that I did with the flowers, and then that's the second one I did. So I went more greens with this one, and you know, I mean, I'm just loving both of those. And so they're actually they're going to be, I think, the one theme. Yep, they're going to be the one theme. So you know, they're the same theme, but I've got two groups, so they're going to kind of look the same, but they're going to be looking quite different as well. So, you know, even though I've done similar sort of processes, the outcome is quite different because of the colours I've used, etc. And this one, you know, so that's kind of dried off now, so those pinky little flowery things have dried off, and so that's looking pretty cool. I'm quite happy with that. And also that's the very first one I did that was already coloured, and I just put that little bit of stenciling on it. So just a little bit of texture in behind there. Of course it needs now some stenciling. Excuse me. I will get these to a certain stage, and then I'm going to stop filming because I don't want you to see the whole process. You can see that in the ATCs, etc. at the end of the month or whatever. Yeah, so I will do something with this one now. I will just do, we originally did this stencil on this one. So what I will do now is grab some white gesso. I shall get rid of that. Enough rubbish on it. Let me just put some gesso. Grab some gesso out of here. I'll just put that in there. Hope you can see that there. I'll get rid of all that. So I shall get a makeup sponge, and I'm just going to do some pouncing. It's probably going to get a little bit of colour on it too, so I'm not too worried about that. But I'm just going to do some pouncing, not all over. Okay, so can you see I'm just doing a little bit of pouncing now, just to tone all those colours back, because remember we do have blocks of colour here. Sometimes I try to keep in mind, oh yes, these are ATC cards, so you know, like I try and keep in my head, I have this imaginary shapes drawn on here. Occasionally I will draw the pencil lines to show where the ATCs will be, if it's for something specific, but quite often I'll just eyeball it like this and just run with what is there. Okay, so I've actually used just the same stencil in a different way. Oops. Okay, and so hopefully everybody's got something on their ATC when it comes out. Put something up the corner there. I like the corners done a little bit. Alright, because I know I'm going to cut off that bit there. Take that off. If you think you've got too much, just give it a bit of a dab to help pull some of that off. So it's always nice to have a little bit of white space. So already I'm loving that. Okay, very different to what it was originally. You can see down the bottom what it was like, and now and that, not a lot gone into that to make that like that. So you know, an ATC is going to be approximately that shape there, around about that. Okay, so you get a little bit of lots of different colours there. All right, so that one, I'm happy with that. And what was I putting on that one? I might do phthalo green. It's a bluey green colour. So what I'm going to do is I'll just put that down there. Grab. Just want to put a little bit of contrasty stand focus colour on it. Now do remember that you're chopping it up, so you do need to make sure you've got a little bit on everywhere, okay? Not too much. On ATCs I don't try not to dab too much onto it. That'll do nicely. So that's a Liquitex ink, and it's the phthalo green, which is a nice colour. So I'll just dry that off quickly. Soaks in pretty good because of all the lindies and all that underneath, so it's still got some absorbency there. So I'm not too happy. I am very happy, I suppose. That's what I'm trying to say. So I'm quite happy with that, and so I've got that to a stage now where I probably won't do any more to that until I actually put the focal image on there and determine whether it needs something like a bit of cheesecloth, or some sort of little die cutty thing. Do I want to put something like that on it? So I mean, they're things that I will do later. This is really the stage that I really wanted to get to, so that you can sort of see me sort of working through that. We've been going for an hour now. Is this the one with the stars? Oh, no. This one's got stars on it. Now, this one I'm going to use the circles. Let's see. Trying to find some circles. Want some small circles. Let me try this one. Sorry guys, I'm all over the place here. Oh no, not that one. I don't want to do hearts. I want to do circly sort of shapes. I'm going to do this. It's a flowery shape, but that's okay. I'm not going to do it all over. So you can sort of see there, even though I was just using white, some of the green from the other one has come through. Oops. So I'm not aiming to do this perfectly, and I'm not doing all of the stencil, so you can sort of see I've just got a little hint of the stencil, just like we did with the lindies, putting the lindies on. It's exactly the same process, only I'm adding on to it rather than sort of taking off or whatever I'm doing. And over here now this is a 12 by 12 sheet, so I will probably get 12 out of this. So obviously if it's just for 9, I've got 3 extras that I can use for something else. Okay, that's so nice, but beautiful. So I'm deliberately just doing a little bit of the flowers, not the whole thing. And of course you do know that you don't have to do this kind of thing for your ATCs. You can just use cardstock. It's already got the pattern on that suits the theme. or grab some cardstock with the pattern on it and just add a little bit of stenciling or something to it. You just make it as easy for yourself as possible. You know what time you've got that you can allow for it, so if you don't have much time, use cardstock. There's no reason why you can't. And yeah, so alright, so there you go. I've done that one. I do not which is this one? I do know I will be doing a bit of embossing on that one, but I won't be doing that today because that's getting too close to the final stages of it. And yeah, so hopefully you will get to see that later. What was the stencil? Oh, but that's right. I'm going to go back to that stencil because just put that. Okay, I'm probably going to go for another 10 minutes or something, so I'm going to, you know, stop this soon. So again, I'm going to still use the white gesso, because like I said, sometimes the gesso itself picks up what's underneath, so you're not getting a pure white necessarily, which is what we want. So just tap it off, and again I'm just going to add some flowers, and I'm just sort of brushing it across because I don't particularly want a distinctive pattern per se. Okay, I'll just do a little bit more down here. Oh dear, that was too much. And we'll just sort of see. I might do this twice. This is going up and down, then I might do it across, because leaves don't grow just straight up and down. So I'll just bring that up so you can sort of see, just ever so slightly see something is there. It's all about subtlety. And because there is a lot of white on this page, there's a lot of white space. That's another reason why the pattern isn't coming out all the way through, and that's okay. I don't want to, I'm just adding some background layer to the background. Each layer is related to the next. Alright, and so usually what I would do, once I've done that, I'll turn it to the side, okay? So that some of these leaves are pointing in a different angle, because that's what leaves are like in real life. I've been known to do this like 4 or 5 times, 4 or 5 layers when I'm doing leaves. So they end up going all sorts of ways, different colours, colour tones, but not necessarily on ATCs for other projects. I don't think it warrants it on an ATC, unless you have that burning desire to do it. Alright, so let's have a look at that. So now I've just made that a little bit more interesting again. So in some parts you see it more better than in others. And yeah, so that's looking pretty cool. I've just got gesso all up my arm, sorry. So I actually think I might just leave it there. I'll just quickly show you what I've done. Because like I've said, I've not done a lot of pre-thinking about this, so you know I'm not 100% sure. I'll get rid of that so you don't sort of see what's going on here. Okay, so you've seen that one that was done with the shakers, so you get lots of different colors inside that, and with leaves. Okay, so that is pretty cool. I'm pretty happy. So I am generally very happy with these. This one has got some more flowers on it that you can just barely see. You know, I just need a little bit of time to think about what I want to do with that one in relation to the theme that it is. This one's, I'm doing pretty good with this. Again, I just need to have a think about the next step before I start putting all the focal bits on. Bit of stamping or something like that, whether, you know, what does it need? I have to think about that. And this one was pretty cool. This is going to be a cold looking one as far as the color tones, so I'm pretty happy with the way that's worked out. And just by putting that that florally style, it's a very indigenous florally style, that stencil. That's what I like about it. It's not quite floral, it's very abstract, and yeah, so that I'm pretty happy with. Love it. This one I haven't done too much with. I need to think about that one again and just sort of see. I need a lot more white, and I need to think about how I'm going to approach that one. And of course this one was the original. So there was a little bit of hint of background stenciling with the Lindies, stenciling with white over the top, and of course the Lindies in block form underneath. So I'm pretty happy with those. So, you know, I'm quite happy that now I've got a very good start on my ATCs. And so from now, what I will do is, you know, I'll take this one and I'll just finish that one off before I go on to the next lot here. So I usually do this in groups, the backgrounds like this, take it to a certain stage, and then that way I can start thinking individually what I need to put on this and other ephemera and other bits and pieces that I want to put on it. And so, yeah, so thanks guys. I really hope you enjoyed watching that. And I mean, we've been on for 1 hour and 10 minutes, so I've got all of those backgrounds ready for my ATCs. Yes, I know that the ATC, this part of it can be quite time consuming, but I'm happy now that I've already got that, a good start on that, and I will have these completed by the weekend, and yeah, ready to send out and all that sort of thing. So keep an eye out. You may actually receive, if you're in my groups or in a group that I'm with someone else, my name is in your group, well then you'll be able to sort of see, is that what she did with it? Okay, so look out for that. But obviously at the end of the time when everyone's received them, I do put photos up of mine. And yeah, so thank you everyone. I hope you feel inspired to do a little bit of background work on your ATCs, and for journaling as well, okay? Same sort of process for when you're doing your journal pages. So thank you for stopping by, and I look forward to seeing you again soon, and thanks very much. Have a great weekend. Bye bye.